Next segment to a dog shit game. Little Boho can't resist.
See the vibe in the chat here? I remember thousands of people joining these. Ellipsis 1358 now. Ellipsis. Wow. Diablo. Please get rid of faces and bosses. Nobody wants this. It's not a challenge. Just an arbitrary slowdown and an annoyance. Thank you. He's so stupid. Remove boss mechanics. Nobody wants them. It's not a challenge, and it just slows you down. Add competitive PvP, especially in hardcore. Add loot drop. Adjust. Oh, he just gone, bro. He got deleted, bro. Rax has more viewers than Blizzard. Wow, dude. This guy's fucking sick. Oh, we got something happening. There's something happening. Let's see. Wait, there's something happening.
With the 230 PTR realm. My name is Marcus Kretz, and I'm a community manager here at Blizzard Entertainment. And today I'm joined by some new and familiar faces to the stream, which we're really excited to get into. Liam, welcome to the stream. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do on Diablo?
Hello, I am Liam. I'm an associate game designer here on Diablo. I'm always caffeinated, and I'm excited to be here.
Hey, I'm Aislinn. I'm a systems designer on the Final Design team, and I'm also happy to be here, and probably not as caffeinated as Liam, but sometimes I wish I was.
Hey everyone, I'm Charles Dunn. I'm a game designer, work on class design on the Final Design team, and I had some coffee this morning, so I'm feeling pretty good about it.
That's good way to be. And coming in all the way from downtown Albany, New York, Mr. Dan Tangway, how much caffeine have you had today?
Hey everybody, I'm Dan Tangway. I've had 0 caffeine today. I'm not allowed to have that stuff anymore. So.
What?
But yeah, I am the design director for live services, and yeah, I'm excited to share what we've got cooking.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Great to have you here, Dan. And yeah, we're really excited to dive into everything coming with the 230 PTR realm. It's going to be live from May 27th till June 3rd. We're going to be getting into everything coming with that today. However, it's been about a month since Season 8 launched, Belal's Return. We've all gotten in and gotten some fantastic boss powers. So, you know, I know we wanted to take a moment to sort of address and see where things are currently sitting in the game. So, like, Aislinn, how do you feel things have been since the start of Season 8?
Yeah, so yeah, we just love to talk a little bit about how has Season 8 gone? Like, what kind of changes did we make from the Season 8 PTR? How did they go in live in Season 8? So the first thing I want to talk about with that on this topic is level pacing and activity variety. So as you guys may be aware, we slowed down leveling just a little bit in Season 8. And I'm really glad we actually ended up bringing that to PTR because it got us so much fantastic feedback from you guys, and we decided to pull back on it a bit. And now we're actually pretty happy with where the pacing of leveling is in Diablo IV right now. With that said, it did end up highlighting a few other things with the slightly slower leveling, which was that there may not be enough activity variety while you're leveling up. And I think we saw this with Apparition Incursions in Season 8 specifically. There was this pressure, a lot of people felt pressure to, if you want to make progress in the season, you want to actually get rewarded on the seasonal track, you have to go to the Apparition Incursion event. And so a big part of what we did is we took a step back and we looked at leveling activity variety, and we also want to take a look at end game activity variety, like with layer bosses, because we also know that there's been a little bit of fatigue with like going in and fighting layer bosses over and over and over. And so with all these things said, we've had a slight philosophical, I don't want to say shift, I would say nudge, a philosophical nudge to try and push people to different content types. When you actually do go and fight a layer boss, we want it to be a big moment, a big reward moment that one could say would punch you in the face and knock your teeth out even. And the same is true for tributes in the Undercity or the Infernal Hordes. When you go and do these things, we want them to be really snappy, really punchy, give you a lot of stuff, and then you can move on to something else. And so there's always a reason to go do something else in Diablo 4, because we think that kind of activity variety is fun, and it makes each gameplay session more varied, which just kind of helps the game last longer. You just have more fun while you're doing it. And then beyond that kind of stuff, there's also a lot of permanent improvements that we're going to be talking about on this stream. It's going to be interspersed throughout some of the seasonal content that we're actually going to be talking about, because with Sins of the Haradrim comes a lot of cool permanent additions as well, which is going to be awesome. Oh, my earpiece is exploding.
It begins.
Yes.
It might be a common trend on this live stream.
Let me check mine really quick. Yeah, we're good.
But yeah, and finally, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for playing Diablo 4.
Yo, announce
I know
the thing.
I have personally had a blast playing Season 8. I know a lot of people on the team have had a blast playing Season 8. We're constantly just playing the game, finding what works, what doesn't, listening to what you guys are saying about it, and we're all here to make Diablo as just fucking awesome as it can possibly be.
Whoa.
And so thank you for joining us on this journey. And with that, I wanted to pass it off to you to talk about class design.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to talk a little bit about where we see the class balance and relative balance of the different builds and classes in the current season, in Season 8 here. I think broadly speaking, class balance, at least in terms of like the spread and diversity of the meta, is in pretty good spot, certainly compared to some of the previous seasons of Diablo 4, where we had one or two outlier builds that were just so far above what anything else or any other class could do. We don't really see that this season. We do have, some Lightning Spear Sork is maybe a little bit higher than we would like, and there are some other builds at the top, and maybe Spiritborn in particular is lagging a bit behind.
Show us a new thing, please. Come on.
Broadly speaking, we're really happy with the overall diversity of builds that players are using to experience all of the content in the game. One of our main pillars for class balance is the concept of that all builds are able to complete all content, which is really that you can take any kind of build that you can think of that's kind of coherently put together, right? You find a skill that you like, you start building into it, and you can take that build and get into Torment 4. You can complete the season journey, you can fight those Torment 4 bosses, and have reasonable success doing it. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be the absolute fastest speed farmer in the pit with every single build, but you're able to complete all the content. That's really the bar we're trying to shoot for with a lot of our class balance, and we want to make sure that there's a wide diversity of classes and builds that can achieve that. And I think for this season in particular, we've gotten in a pretty good spot. There are a few outliers that we're still going to look to kind of close the gap on. And also, I just wanted to say that this is an ongoing process. And one of the things that the PTR is so valuable for us testing is getting feedback on the new content that we're putting in, the new builds we're trying to enable, and make sure they are hitting that mark.
Yeah, it's a great point. Like, that's the nature of live service games, right? Like, it's always iterative. We're always trying to balance things and get them to a spot where they function really well and builds feel really good, and it feels like you're not shoehorned into one. So yeah, the state of the game right now in terms of Season 8, having all those builds be available to get you through your entire season's journey is really, really nice. So that's really great to hear.
Yeah, and of course, we'll be sharing some updates for the class balance later on in the presentation, specifically around the overpower stat, which has definitely been kind of dominating the meta this season and has been for a little bit. So we're definitely aware of that and going to look to make adjustments with the interest of promoting non-overpower builds to also compete with them. And of course, also we also recognize that here in Season 8, a lot of the absolute top builds, those ones at the very top of the meta, are kind of the same ones that they were in Season 7, in the previous season. And we know there's some fatigue around that, where, hey, Death Trap Rogue, it's the best Rogue build again. Hey, Earthquake Barbarian, and so on. Bloodwave Necro. There's some examples of hey, it's the same class this second season. And we definitely realize that maybe we didn't quite shake up the meta as much as we really were aiming for on Season 8, but we hope some of the big changes I'll talk about later really achieve that for Season 9 going forward.
Yeah, and this is kind of like a little bite-sized sneak peek of some of the things we'll be talking about later on the stream. But again, that's the beauty of having the PTR, right? Is it's, I think Dan said it before, like this is our time to adjust all the knobs in the dial so that, you can test the content, give us your feedback, and then we can, make some changes before that all goes live to make sure it feels great in game. So yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, with that in mind, with the 2.3.0 PTR, for those of you that are keen and know the roadmap inside and out, you'll know that this next season's is going to deal with all things dungeons. So we have a lot of new and exciting systems and activities that are coming in Season 9 that you'll see in the 2.3.0 PTR. So Dan, what are some of the things that players can expect to get into and try out with this PTR?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to run through some of the features that you're going to see in the Season 9 PTR. First off, I'm going to talk a little bit high level, build on some of the things that they were saying before. I think, when we've been looking at our seasons after X1, we've really been thinking about, what are those areas that we need to really kind of plus up, what's become stale. And one of those areas that, really felt as if it needed some love was the dungeons, specifically our Nightmare dungeons. And so we slotted that in Season 9. And that's really been the dominant theme of a lot of the features that we're going to release. Obviously, if you're familiar with the roadmap, you'll understand that this is where we're headed. But it's important that we're still trying to, even within that, promote that activity variety and create a lot of permanent additions to the game. I know that's something coming out of Season 7, especially. A lot of folks had a lot of feedback on. And so we've taken some extra effort to make sure that we can, bring a lot of these changes season on season into the permanent game moving forward.
Good feedback, guys.
So, without further ado, let's take a look at some of the features.
Okay.
Now, as with any PTR, I'm just going to say up front, we're not going to include any story. We're not going to include the quest line, rep track, things like that. We're really focusing on things that are more repeatable gameplay that we need a lot of feedback on. First up, Heraldric spells. So you see an image here of the UI for the Heraldric spells. It's really cool. It's kind of a create a power system this season. I'm not going to speak too much about that. I'm actually going to let Liam speak about that after I go through the rest of these features. Next up, we have Nightmare Affix updates, and I'll get to those in a little bit. We have Heraldric Strong Rooms. Heraldric Strong Rooms are a new type of micro dungeon within any dungeon. Next up, we have Escalating Nightmares. Escalating Nightmares is a new type of dungeon progression system. Ooh. And finally, we have Astaroth.
They added GITS, by the way.
So let's dig into Nightmare Affix updates just a little bit more. I actually think Aislin's going to talk about it a bit after, so I'm just going to hit this at a high level. I mean, the defining feature of Nightmare Dungeons are the Nightmare Affixes, right? And so, we've spent a lot of time over, 8 seasons basically saying, oh, well, people don't like this one. Let's tweak this one. Maybe we can add a few here and there. But, we really haven't put, a strong lens on the Nightmare Dungeon affixes as we have in Season 9, especially when we're looking at trying to promote new types of rewards, or at least variations on the type of rewards that dungeons can have. So you see here, we've got Heraldric Reserve and Equipment Delve, and both of these are new types of rewards that you can find within the dungeons. Equipment Delve specifically is you are seeking around the dungeon to find these gizmos that allow you to upgrade the rewards that you get at the end. Let's move on. All right, so let's talk about strong rooms a bit. I said it was a micro dungeon, right? This is a micro dungeon, however, that's going to be hidden within a nightmare dungeon. So, the Haradrim have always been very secretive, and we thought this would be a great opportunity to explore gameplay kind of along those lines. And so you, upon entering the dungeon, have to find the entrance to this, Haradric strong room. Now, once you're in the strong room, and you basically are going to be earning Haradric attunement by slaying enemies. And this attunement is going to improve the chest that you get at the end after defeating the mini-boss. So really, all said and done, what this strong room is about is maximizing that attunement. If it feels a little bit like the Gauntlet, it does have some inspiration from that. We don't have the Gauntlet in the game anymore, but we wanted to, bring that element of really trying to maximize your score within a certain period of time and giving you a lot of really interesting ways to do that. And so what you see here in the image is one of those tools. These are tests that you can choose to take at the beginning of the strong room, and that will modify how your strong room plays out.
I remember doing this in
there's
the
a
other
couple
patch,
of other images here we can go through as well.
where you just like clicked some shit, changed it. And
here is the
then all these drops
Haradric
came
portal
out.
that you'll enter in order to get to the strong room.
Oh, dude. Whoa.
Here is the gate that leads to the strong room. So you have an ante-room right before the strong room where you have to perform a little test to make sure you understand what's about to happen
The
next.
ante-room.
I think there's one more. Yep, here's some combat around one of the Haradric pillars. I'm not going to tell you exactly what the Haradric pillar does, but Haradric pillar is one of those ways to boost your score. So with the Haradric strong rooms, we're really interested in just getting a good amount of feedback about, is it fun enough? Does it differentiate itself enough from some of the other modes that we've created? And so, yeah, let us know. Next up, we've got Escalating Nightmares. Now, this one, I just got done playtesting this morning, and it's really coming together at this point. We're really happy with it. So this is a progression that allows you to fight through a series of nightmare dungeons. 3 specifically, and each time you enter a new nightmare dungeon, new affixes get added to the list of dungeons, increasing both the difficulty and, of course, the fun part, the reward efficiency. And so it's going to culminate with a boss fight. The one you're going to play in the PTR is going to culminate with that Astaroth boss fight. And in order to get into an escalating nightmare, you're going to need to get an escalating nightmare sigil. Now, this is currently going to drop in Torment 1 from strong rooms. All right, I think
So
there is an image of a totem coming up. So let's take a look at that real quick. Yep. So at the end of a dungeon, you're going to be looking for this particular totem, and that's going to allow you to open a portal immediately to the next dungeon, which is honestly going to create a nice flow state running from dungeon to dungeon to dungeon. So you don't have to back out if you don't want to. You don't have to go into your inventory and hit it again. You just hit the portal and go. So that's pretty cool. With the Escalating Nightmares, I think the thing that we probably want the most feedback on is actually how you go about acquiring it. Right now, you can only get them in Torment 1, and, going into the PTR, we're like, well, that feels pretty good. But we're also like, well, do people want to try and experience this earlier? So this is something we'd love to hear from y'all on. Finally, we've got Astaroth Reignited. So Astaroth, of course, is, a very recognizable demon from Diablo IV base game. And, we were really trying to think of somebody we could put a face, to for the upcoming season. And somebody said, well, what about Astaroth? And we thought about it, and we're like, well, yeah, that's kind of unfinished business. Really, this is kind of a rematch when you come down to it, because you defeated him the first time, right? You knocked him off the amalgam, and then you saw him in hell, but we really haven't seen him since. He's just sitting there relaxing at this point. So we really wanted to have this rematch, but if it's a rematch, we don't want to give you the same fight, right? So we've updated the combat mechanics, and there's some things that will feel familiar, but there's some new twists in this fight as well.
He shoots balls out.
The final thing I want to say about Astaroth right now is he is not immediately going to the boss ladder.
Attack.
We're really trying to find ways to integrate some of our bosses in new fashions within the overall end game. It's pretty important for us to, kind of branch out. We did a great job iterating on and polishing up the boss ladder last season. So we want to try some new things here and let us know how we did there. But I think there's a tease of Astaroth coming up, so let's check it out.
Oh shit, here we go. Oh, fuck yeah.
So here we are entering his lair. In this part of the fight, first phase of the fight, it's going to feel a little bit familiar. He's going to be riding the amalgam, but, you know, pretty soon it varies up quite a bit. And so we're going to leave it at that, I think. Honestly, yeah, I don't want to spoil it for folks. Just go check it out when the PTR hits. So I think at this point, we are going to chat with Liam next. So I'm going to kick it back to Irvine.
Guys, I think that's it. I think I'm done.
Hello. Oh my gosh, I am so nervous right now. that caffeine is combining with that nervous energy, and it is creating something. I don't know. We're just going to go for the ride.
Ride that wave, Liam. Ride that wave.
Ride that wave. Let's get into this.
Huh? I mean, dude. Dude, the stream just died. Huh? The stream. Yo, there's a computer blue screen. Wait, computer just blue screen, bro. Oh, shit. So I gotta change my sound setting. So 1 second, my sound is broke. My bad. Stream PC audio. Wait, can I hear my sound? Can I hear my own sound anymore? Save, dude. Blizzard W. Well, there you go. There you go, guys. Hey, do you know what? I was about to stop watching anyway, so that's perfect. Delete. Yeah, I was about to. Oh wait, are they back?
Means a lot. There's a.
This is a pretty intricate system,
Yeah, these spells are not just like, oh, what one does the most damage, right?
Yes.
It's a lot about like what.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't give a fuck. All right, guys, if you want to watch the race, you can watch it there. I'll be honest. So they've redone the dungeons a little bit, and they've got a boss that looks like a D4 boss, bro. That's. I'm not super compelled to want to play that. Yeah. There it is. That's all I'll go ahead and say.